Hello everyone, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Welcome to the video where we're talking about sports. Yesterday, that is 19th November 2023, was a very sad day for most of the Indians because India fought against Australia in Cricket World Cup 2023 and Australia won the World Cup. For most of the cricket fans around the globe, especially from India, yesterday was a day where most of the dreams got shattered. And we saw a lot of reports where people were very angry and some people were actually beating down the TVs, and they destroyed the television network that was screening. And some people also vented out their frustration in commenting on the social media. So taking all these things in the background, something that is important from the exam point of view of whatever thing that has happened yesterday, something that is important from the exam point of view, most probably in your essay paper or the GS4, is something that I've picked to discuss with you all today. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about a slogan, we're talking about a statement, we're talking about a proverb, and we're also talking about a very important and a very famous person in the history. So, by this time, looking at the image, it would have been very clear we're talking about Nelson Mandela. And we're also talking about what Nelson Mandela said about sports. If you look at this statement, sport has the power to unite people in a way little else does. Okay, I'll repeat. Sport has the power to unite people in a way little else does, which means Nelson Mandela is talking about sport can unite people when you compare it with any other things. Okay, when you compare it with any other things, sport can unite people. One good example where the sport can unite people, where people forget all their differences, is something that you can see what happened yesterday. Yesterday, the Hotstar viewership went or surpassed 5 crore people. And see, India is fighting against Australia. Karnataka has a lot of disputes with respect to Tamil Nadu. Karnataka, Tamil Nadu are facing a lot. They are fighting over land. They are fighting water. They are fighting over water. And Karnataka is not happy with whatever the Tamil Nadu says. Tamil Nadu is also not happy with the Karnataka says. But still, irrespective of whether you speak Kannada, irrespective of whether you speak Tamil or Telugu, yesterday everybody supported for a country, for a cause, that is India. So this is how people forget their differences, irrespective of your caste, irrespective of your religion, irrespective of your regional the region that you belong to in India. Yesterday the only focus was to make India win, or to pray that India wins. So this is what is sport has the power to unite people. This is what the Nelson Mandela said. And Nelson Mandela, when he fought war against apartheid policy, one thing that he stressed was that you can have one thing that he stressed was that sport is one important amenity, or sport is one important way to achieve equality in South Africa. So along with this, Nelson Mandela also added some of the important words about sports, and these things becomes really important when you're writing your GS4 answer, or also probably essay. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair. Okay, once all the dreams have been shattered, once there is nothing left, so during those situations, sport can create hope. Okay, because sport imbibes activity, it gives energy, at the same time it also ensures equality. It is more powerful than government in breaking down racial barriers. This is what the Nelson Mandela spoke about when he was in jail. Okay, when he was in jail, he said it is more powerful, the sport is more powerful than the government in breaking down racial barriers. Now if you can just see the South African cricket team, the captain of the South African cricket team, okay, Bauma, is a very great example of the fight that the Nelson Mandela has actually conducted. And now South Africa is very peaceful. There are very limited number of apartheid or the racial discrimination cases that are being reported on a larger scale. So all these credits goes to one individual, that is Nelson Mandela. Okay. Second, how does the sports ensure it? Nelson Mandela says, see, sports has the power to unite people. Sport has the power to give hope where there is despair. How? Because always sport is associated with nationalism. Sport is always associated with nationalism. If you look at the greatest rivalries in the field of cricket, greatest rivalries in the history, if I ask you name two or four countries which are considered to be arch rivals in cricket, the first names that you would come out with is India versus Pakistan. Correct? Arch rivals. See, the rivalry between India and Pakistan is nothing related to cricket. It is related to the religion, it is related to the partition, it is related to the policies, it is related to terrorism. Okay, because the country, the governance mechanism or the geopolitical tensions are there between the countries. Even in cricket, we consider them to be arch rivals. If we consider countries like Australia and England, Australia and England have a historic test cricket that they play, that is Ashes. And they are considered also to be arch rivals with respect to cricket. And Australia and England share a very cordial relationship. They share a very cordial relationship, and Australia is not sovereign, and they have dominion status with respect to England, but still with respect to cricket, they are arch rivals. So always, whenever we talk about sport, sport always is related to nationalism. That is how it can create unity. Second, George Orwell also described, look at this proverb when he says, sport is a war minus the shooting. War without weapons, war without any arms is nothing but sport, because sport is always related to nationalism. Okay, so these are some of the things that you can make use of when you are writing answers with respect to unity, with respect to how sports can change behaviors, and what is the importance of sports somewhere going forward. These are the points that you can make use of. Now, if we talk about the famous person, that is Nelson Mandela, and what did he do, how did he fight apartheid, and what happened later. If you just look at some of the important key points for you to remember and also quote somewhere in your mains answer. First one, Nelson Mandela was born in the year 1918. Okay, in South Africa. If you look at the same time period, around 1915, 1918, one important thing that happened in the year 1915 is that Mahatma Gandhi ji left South Africa and came back to India. And 1918, we have Nelson Mandela being born. Okay, so throughout the early childhood of the Nelson Mandela, when he was a small child, when he was going to school, one thing that was very prevalent in South Africa was racial discrimination, racial divide in the country. So this racial divide, Mahatma Gandhi ji was also a victim of this. We all know the story where Mahatma Gandhi ji was traveling in the train, and where the only white skinned people had the right to travel. Because Mahatma Gandhi ji was an Indian, he was thrown out of the train. This was an incident where he decided that he will fight for the people of South Africa, and he fought for a long time, like a huge time period of 20 odd years, and then he came back to India. Okay, so this is a story that we know, and this was the same situation through which Nelson Mandela was also put when in the early childhood. That is when he makes it a point that over a period of time, he fights for the rights of these people. And the blacks were also not given the voting power in the elections also. So they did not have representation, they couldn't make property, they couldn't vote. So these were some of the racial policies that were there in South Africa. In the year 1948, the South African government introduced the policy of apartheid officially, which is nothing but the racial discrimination. How did Nelson Mandela decide to carry out his action? If we talk about the plan of action of Mahatma Gandhi ji, it is very different. We talk about Satyagraha, we talk about Champaran, we talk about Ahmedabad mill strike, we talk about Raula Satyagraha. So how did Nelson Mandela do it? Nelson Mandela started a league or a group of youth people, okay, a league comprising of youth. It is called as ANC Youth League. Okay, so this ANC Youth League carried out a lot of campaigns, carried out a lot of awareness things, and carried out peaceful, non-violent movement throughout the country. And for this reason, in the year 1962, Nelson Mandela was imprisoned, and he was imprisoned from 1962 till 1990. Okay, so this entire 30 years of time period, majority of the time period, the Nelson Mandela lived in the or spent his life in the prison. So in the year 1990, there came a very famous slogan that is called as Free Nelson Mandela, and a lot of other countries around the globe started pressurizing the government of South Africa to release Nelson Mandela. So Nelson Mandela comes out in the year 1990. Okay, 1990 he is freed, and then he becomes the president. As soon as he becomes the president, the first thing that he does is to abolish the policy of apartheid and bring out the policy of equality. Okay, so Nelson Mandela, 1990, comes out of the prison, becomes the president, and first thing that he does, abolishes apartheid and votes for equality and also the human rights. Constitutes a committee to investigate the anti-human right activities that were actually done during the policy of apartheid. Adaptation of new democratic constitution took place in the year 1996 with the leadership of Nelson Mandela only. So finally, in the year 2013, Nelson Mandela took his last breath at the age of 95. So this is how Nelson Mandela fought against the policy of apartheid in the late 20th century, and one of the greatest inspiration for Nelson Mandela to fight for people in a very selfless way was the father of the nation, that is Mahatma Gandhi ji. So with this, we come to the end of the video. I hope you have liked the video. Press the like button and also hit the bell icon so that you get all the latest updates from the Legacy IAS YouTube channel. Have a nice day.